Welcome back to PCM Yeti, episode 106. Dauphine, stage 7 of 8. We've had a tremendous start to this Dauphine, including a stage victory that has put us into a real position to test Vatsek and just see how capable he might be. Dirk G shouldn't have been capable at the Giro of competing for a strong GC position, yet he fairly comfortably took a top 10, even with a lot of quick sims. But the Giro is not the tour, and the tour is coming up, and Vatsek is the presumptive leader for said tour. Here, it's a test of, without race day condition bonuses, how competitive can he be. Lost a little bit of time on the last stage, which was a proper climbing stage, but we could have actually pushed just a hair harder and maybe even gotten more out of it. He actually did get a fairly good result, and he still finds himself in 7th place in GC right now. But yesterday was very much not today, and as we go to climb on this one, it's an Ars Cat. It's the hard climb, and then almost immediately followed by a Cat 2, and so you gotta have extra energy for that because you're not going to get much recovery. Then you get a nice lengthy recovery before you go into another massive climb. Very, very tough day ahead of us, and already before we even hit the base of the climb, a lot of fatigue. Now that we have begun climbing here officially, we're 6.5K from the top of this first one, but it's everybody already quite fatigued. Now, in terms of the draw, we got an exact zero neutral day. Exactly what's expected of it. So for that, you can be happy. But Vatsek is exactly where he should be as well, with a 0 race day condition. So with some really, really strong positive, Jouet with a +5 and Zipinati with a +3 find themselves better climbing legs today than Vatsek. But we're trying to ride for GC. Jouet or Zipinati are not going to go win a stage for us here. We're already down to 68 in the peloton. It is going to come down to limiting losses for Vatsek, riding for him as a leader, as a test, because this is not the kind of stage where we're just going to go out and claim victory. There were 20 riders in the break, and they had a pretty healthy advantage. They've very likely got the chance to win the stage anyway. There's a few really strong climbers within that group, and we're only just starting to pull them back. So Friesalom is already on the going backward trajectory. So Haddad, who trend continues, always never has a positive race day condition on a mountain stage, ever. I don't think I've ever seen him have a positive race day condition. He's always had a negative draw, and he has one again here today. He's got good-ish mountain rating, and he's definitely got a good medium mountain, and he's got good stamina. He should climb well, yet we cannot seem to ever get him on a good draw. But anyway, 2.5K from the top on this one, 56 riders, which means we've got a pretty small group here. Montez and Lind have both just gone out the back, but that was your other domestiques for the day. Lind, even with a +5, had a nice healthy 70 and very, very good stamina, but 70 is still just a 70, and we're doing some proper climbing here, and these other guys were just simply stronger. Haddad is going to fade and drop out. Looks like we're going to have 3 guys for what's to come, with a quite small peloton to do it. Zipinati. Let's let these guys go individually, because they will crest. They will be okay. I need all 3 of them to have much of a chance here. As much as we need to protect Vatsek, they all need to get some recovery in. 34 left in the peloton. And at least 8 groups left off the front. Make that 7 groups off the front. Let's take a little look at what is there. Individuals. 5 left at the front, 2 chasing, so there's 7. And then, what did I say, 5 groups? No, 7 groups, so 4 individuals. 5, 2, and 4. Only 11 left off the front, plus the 34 that we are using to chase. Means a pretty small group in contention. Haddad, does he have any chance to get back up there? No, he is too far back. More riders are getting lost. That little uphill swing. Those were guys who just couldn't quite edge. We're going to have to get water here. But I want to do it at the top of this climb. Okay, now we need to protect. Vacek, you can see, will actually look at a little bit weaker at this stage than Zipanati or Jouet, and he's the leader. So we've got to ride for him. Like I said, Jouet, Zipanati, they're not going to win the stage. They don't have a chance to win the stage. So we might as well see what we're capable of GC-wise. And right now, the UAE rider leading this thing out just does not have much push. So it looks like there's not going to be any further disintegrating of this group. But I wouldn't mind the last kilometer and a half or so doing what we're seeing right now from the #1 jersey wearer of Venipol. But that's it. See, it's 2K. It's 2K. It's too far out. Too far out. And yet, here we go. We don't have a choice. Zipanati, climb, Jouet, and Vacek follow, and let's follow Vacek. Hey! Zip. Oh, come on. Zipanati tucks in behind his two teammates with plenty of open road there. And so we make 0 forward progress. 8 riders go clear. Now 5 riders going clear. And we get a chasing group of just a handful. And Vacek is barely going to get there, which was why I was nervous about making much of a push here. But it's enough. It's enough. We'll be okay. We will recover on the descent. Zipanati needs to get back up into position, but otherwise we're good. Jouet, swap out for a second. There's only 13 here. Now 16, chasing just a front 4 that is just around the corner. Just around that switchback from us. In our group, Van Wilder, Sivikov, Glug, Ayuso, Martinez, a lot of the favorites are here. A lot of the top 10 are in our group. It's Lenny Martinez, Malesi, Gregoire, and a Venipol who have attacked. And then what's left of the breakaway ahead, which is now led by Gegenhardt. Water is done. Zipanati. Ease off just a little bit. Did we catch those 4? Oh, we did. We did catch those 4. We need to recover. But Zipanati can set a tempo that's a little bit higher to allow a good amount of recovery, both for him and Vacek and Jouet. Let's switch back to Jouet ahead of Vacek. At the base, I definitely am going to want to sit on. Let's see what happens. Ooh. Hello. It's a puncture for Zipanati as we have him back off and sit on. He pulls towards the side of the road. Apparently catches a stone. I have to proceed before it'll let me. There we go. Okay, holding position, and we will ride with Zipanati as he tries to rejoin. That's going to waste even further energy. He got a little less recovery than we would hope to maintain a decent pace to make sure groups behind us don't rejoin. And now he's going to be riding solo across this valley here with a 63 base flat rating. Oh, there you go. He's been joined by a group of chasers, which includes Ben O'Connor and Fisher Black, Mataway. So it's definitely got a few guys that are amongst contenders. Are they actually contenders right now? Plapp is out. Mataway's 13th. Fisher Black is 11th. And Ben O'Connor is 5th and leading the chase. So we will let him lead that chase and let Zipanati just sit on. And you can see his heart rate is only coming down gradually while sitting on with this group. So those guys are definitely riding pretty hard, which means Ben O'Connor is going to be quite tired at the base of this climb. And it's a very, very long climb. So even though they are back in contention, Zipanati is probably going to be in a similar state to what you would expect from Ben O'Connor. So we're at 25 now, chasing a total of 7 riders off the front, just under a minute to a small group of 3. The other 4 are going to be a little bit harder catch as 4 of the original 5 have come back together, including Moss, Gegenhardt, and as Cayerdo. And already starting to split off.
There's an attack in the group at the front.
And we begin climbing. 16k to go. It's a big one. It's a hefty one, and it's a Zippinati deemed mostly useless thanks to that puncture. Tranchan from the break has been caught. In fact, we're down to just 3 riders left off the front. Now just 2 riders off the front. Zippinati is going to get dropped. We'll get a lay of the land. Who else has been dropped? Tranchan, who just came back from the break. Lindqvist, Storer, Ben O'Connor has already been dropped. So Zippinati outlasted Ben O'Connor, but he is out. So just 23 left, chasing 2, and we've got a good amount of recovery having already happened, and Jouet will be used to protect Vacek. That will put Vacek into the position of clearly being the one who will reach the top first, but he's already in the back of the group, so we cannot stall any further. But this is conserve as much as you can, because it's 11.8k, and he will very much not be at the top with the front few riders. But can we be at the top in the 5 to 10 range? That's the hope. We've already got a top 25 secured for the day, and you can see Jouet out expending energy compared to Vacek. Is Cayerdo with his 77 mountain, 78 medium mountain has been caught. Group is thinning as more riders have been dropped. And there is the last one, Gegenhardt at the front. Still almost 10k to go. Here comes an acceleration. Martinez, Evenepoel. There goes your first 5, 6. But at 8k, this is not the kind of stuff that's going to last 8k. I'd rather be in Group B chasing as opposed to Group A at the front. Now looking at a top 17 for the day. Gel, still 6k to go, which means we're going to be riding solo the last few kilometers. So this is now just hanging on. Ooh, we caught back up to the front group. Well, there you go. But here comes another acceleration soon, I'm sure. Maybe not. Down to 15 as Jouet and others get dropped. So we'll do another check-in here. Fauer Prost, who's 21st overall. Ayuso, 26th. Mataway, who's 13th, has been dropped. Fisher Black, who's 11th, has been dropped. And we're back into the other area, right? We've already seen these guys out the back. There's Novak, who's a prospect for next year. He's one of my prime guys that I'm going to try to go after. And yeah, we're starting to see those other names. So 15 remain in contention. And Vacek is going to be on his own here. Just hanging on. Down to 13. The front rider is dropped, but there we go. Outside of the top 10. Just barely outside of the top 10. I was hoping to crack the top 10, but we're going to just miss out. But there is Lanny Martinez, who's 4th. Vandenberg, who's 28th. You know, the good news is a lot of these guys that are up here ahead of us, plenty of them are not in the top 10. Camp, Sidore. Wow, that happened fast. 9 guys away. Glog, Martinez, Sivikov. There's Gegenhardt, who's 42nd, 12.5 minutes down. He's having a heck of a day if he's still in that group. Evenepoel, 15th. He's a bit of a threat. We've got a 2-minute advantage over him, but he could easily finish more than 2 minutes ahead of us. Gregoire, the leader, is there. Malesi, who's 3rd. Van Wilder, who is 8th. And Onley. So, yeah, a good chunk of that 9 is very much in the top 10. But Vacek getting a little bit of a ride here from Heeb. Heeb's 24th. He's not a great climber, but he's a good medium mountain guy. He must be on a positive race day condition to be hanging on as long as he did. But we are coming back at Van Camp and Isidore, and if we can get just that little bit more, we can then contribute. Be nice to make contact with those two guys so we have 4 guys to work together with. And this is seen as the front group, as Lenny Martinez is the strongest climber. He might be coming back at us. But our 7th at 41 seconds down. Very much in jeopardy to drop down a little bit, but we're looking pretty okay. Nope, that's Hebe struggling. Bridge the gap here. Globe takes the win ahead of Onley and Van Wilder, Gregoire, Malesi, Venable, Gegenhardt. There's Martinez, only 8th. Sivikov is 9th. Okay, we're going to get beat a handful of seconds here at the finish, but 12th on the stage. I was hoping to crack the top 10, but that was hopeful. With a 76 mountain rating and none of the bonuses, either form, right? We don't have a race day condition bonus. We don't have a difficulty bonus where everybody else around us has one for sure, and many have the second as well. 12th is actually a really good result, all things considered. I was hoping for a couple positions higher, but I'll take that, and we should still be in the top 10 for sure after that, but maybe only just. One more stage to go. That was a hard stage. And we'll take what we got out of that one. With such a big climb, time losses on the stage grew pretty exponentially. So those front few guys, top 7, were all inside a minute. Martinez lost a bit of time, as well as Sivikov there towards the top, but for them it was a little over a minute. But then the gaps started to open. We were the third of the next group, kind of scattered across the road. But at 2:52, fairly big time losses, but the good news is behind us that grows rapidly as well. Jouet at 17th was 4:40 behind. So in the GC, as our goal is to try to hang on to a top 10 for this race, we're actually looking pretty good still for that opportunity. We're 9th. And look at it to the times, though. Something really stands out. The top 7 all within a minute 20, especially the top 6 within a minute. Evenepoel, who had lost time previously and had a good day today, moves from 15th up to 8th. 6 seconds ahead of us. Vatsek there, just behind him. And just 6 seconds ahead of Lenny Martinez, who had a bad day and lost time, finished behind us a little bit. And Isidore, who came in just ahead of us, moves up into 11th. Mataway up to 12th, but here's the key thing. Mataway is 8:40 down, so I have a group of 4 riders competing for 3 top 10 spots. All we need to do is beat one of them in the final stage to secure a top 10. Final stage, and it's a difficult one. Difficult for a couple of reasons. One, it's a shorter stage, 147k. 2, Vatsek gets a +2 at least. Second reason, it's a pretty tough stage, is there's a lot of climbing. We're going to have to be very, very careful with this stage throughout. We'll speed up at certain parts, but I think the first major key to this stage, not this little Cat 4 that we opened the stage with, but the next 3 climbs to come is going to be a very, very big, important moment for this. We need our entire team to still be intact over the top of this Cat 1. If it is, the next phase begins right there, right at the base of that climb, the descent, that is, because the valley, by that point, I would imagine we're going to be at a pretty high tempo. And so we have to be super cautious to conserve energy, burn very, very little on that Cat 3, but not see anybody get dropped, and find ourselves at the base of the Arscat climb. 12.5 kilometer climb. We need our full team for that one. If we have our full team for that one, and with Vatsek on a +2, as long as nothing crazy happens, no punctures or crashes, we'll find ourselves with a full contingency of help and support, and Vatsek should be able to make it over the top with all of that help and support, unless there's a couple, 2 or 3 strongest guys who attack and get clear. Then we have the descent to recover to set up the finish, and from there we should be pretty good. 4 riders forming the early break, but they're only 30 seconds ahead, and UAE is not content with what is contained within that group. So Gegenhardt, Connor, who slipped to 18th, by the way, 18th, 19th, Remin, and Fitzka go away. Fitska has a really good flat rating, and then of course you got two strong climbers in that group. I don't mind at all those being the guys, but here we are, a wild and crazy attack now happening because they were too close. Those four guys could have already been a couple minutes up the road. That could have been the break for the day. And now the chase is on, and we're coming up on the first of the triple climbs with fatigue in the legs already for everyone. Even Vatsek, who is here right from the get-go, is already feeling it. Let's get him some protection before we begin climbing. Case for having the full team intact over the top. This could be half a peloton by the third climb. Two Cat 2s followed by a Cat 1. Everyone has gotten into position here in time, but I need to get these guys some protection. Lind has 70. Zippinati looks fairly good, but he's on a 0. Montez is not going to do anything, so we'll protect Zippinati. Jouet's got a decent, as does Haddad. Haddad's got that 79 stamina. We might be working for him. Jouet, or was it Zippinati who... It's Zippinati. Zippinati's got a 67 stamina. So never mind him. He'll ride solo. And we'll protect Haddad today instead. Otherwise, it's the same guys from the last one. But again, team half exhausted before we even begin this back-to-back-to-back set of climbs. We're still looking at hunting down these two guys. Suddenly, it's down to 2. No, we're still chasing. There's still a chase going on here. Egenhart and O'Connor were the ones who obviously stayed away, but Tronchin, who enters the fray a little bit late, gets away, and now we have one rider in the break. And the tempo remains not low, but it still remains fairly moderate. I think this is the shortness of the stage now coming into play, as is Chiardo and Moss, who have been in the last couple breakaways, attack and go clear. Climb number 1 done, and our protected riders are still at 50%. The domestiques, though, a bit less so as we head into a much longer climb. The big key now is whether they let this rider go clear and let the pace up a little bit, or Pierre Latour, who is now just a 72 medium mountain and 72 hills, and looking pretty weak otherwise. He's not the rider he once was. He's got to be about 90 years old by this stage, or 38-ish. But he's not the rider he once was, and looking rather soft. For now, we're not taking any additional damage. Looking at the heart rates, we're not in recovery mode, but we're also not suffering. But as we begin climbing again, halfway up, this section is much steeper and very consistent all the way to the top. And Free Salam is not going to make it, and the peloton is shrinking. It's already down to 148. Let's see, who's my free guy? It is Zippinati. Zippinati's going to need to protect Vatsek now. And we'll keep an eye on Free Salam and his gel that kicked in after his energy ran out. A little too late on that one. Montez is also going to run out soon, but we're also down to just 2K. And well, the peloton shrinks little by little. As we approach the top with 1K, the pace lifts. The pace has lifted, and suddenly there's 3 guys at the front. Latour was out of energy and still doing the work. It's Tronchin, it's Moss, it's Chiardo. So still those 3 guys. Only 1 minute ahead. And Free Salam did get dropped. As we hit the peak, there was some accelerations, but he's not far off the back. In fact, he's not very far at all, but little splits like that, 48 riders getting dropped, that's going to do a lot. Ooh. Legs. Pause. Okay, Montez is protecting Jouet. Montez, go get water. Get a nice full recovery in as you go to get the water, and then okay, get the water, go forward before we start climbing. I like it. We just begin to climb, and he was right behind Zippinati by that point. Very simple effort to complete the task. We're gonna have to get water again, but that was good. We were very much on the edge, and this long climb would have been a problem. All right, This time around, besides Free Salam, we should be able to keep everybody intact. We've got 3 guys in a manageable gap, just over 2 minutes ahead, which means definitely don't expect the breakaway to win the stage today with how it's looking, but they're actually pulling away a little bit. They're riding harder and faster than we are. A single team in total control at the moment. And our fatigue rate is not bad at all with 5K left. So unless there's a sudden increase in speed, we should be able to keep 6 guys intact. Gap to the front came down a bit, but as they approach the top and attack, they get a little separation and open the gap up a little bit more, and we get an additional guy attacking as we go over the top. That was Gakenhart trying to get those points for the King of the Mountains. And there's our full team intact, now in full recovery mode, and 66K to go. Gosh, do I want to save and get the water again right now? Yeah, there's 2 descents. Montez, get water. Little split, 48 riders, now 113 back together. So somewhat shrunken peloton. Of course, we're missing 1 rider as well, so I think we're no better or worse than anybody else. This is now about getting full recovery, and Lind and Montez are the only 2 that have yet to do that, but as things flattened out a little bit there, we go into another steeper descent section. Lind is now fully recovered, and Montez fully recovered. As for a green bar, we're looking pretty good there too, though we are going to start to have the stamina of the guys start to show up and see their maximums decrease. But here is that phase that I said is really important. So first phase, we didn't want to lose anybody. Well, we lost 1. Free Salam's out the back. He's 12 minutes down compared to the peloton. Now, we enter that next phase. From here to the sprint point is incredibly important to expend as little energy as possible. So first thing is we're going to keep an eye on the pace and go low, and this little Cat 3 is where I want to make sure we are very, very soft, very gentle. We can absolutely drift. We do not want to spend energy beyond a little bit from the domestiques. Base of the climb. We're about to begin. Definitely slowing it down for this phase because of how important it is for what's to come later. Fresh legs. Fresh legs are vital. We're good so far. Let's speed it up a little bit. Less than 4K from the top of it.
The breakaway is not to everybody's liking. The peloton has significantly
Gakenhart
increased its
continued
speed.
on, by the way. He's now 2 minutes ahead, and the other guys are 3.5. They're riding a lot harder at this stage, but that means they're going to be a lot more tired. We see a little split in the field. Suddenly there's just 78 here, and we have conserved plenty of energy. Free Salam, the only one who has drifted off the front. In fact, he's drifted in that many minutes behind. We're going to reach the top of this nearly with a maximum amount of energy. We're going to get a very short descent here, and we only drifted just a small amount. Let the heart rate come down. There we go. We get all but 3 domestiques back to full. So the 3 protected riders are back to full strength. The 3 domestiques just a little fatigued. And nobody is losing their maximums yet. Amazingly, we're at that point. Nice and cautious. The front group have split apart already. So now it's 3 guys or 2 guys going solo at the front, right? It was 3 and 1. So there's 2 left. They dropped somebody. Somebody got dropped. Tronchin. So Moss and Izquierdo. Those guys are legit. They are talented, but the gap has already come down by 45 seconds. They pushed on a little bit, probably too hard, too early, and they're already suffering for it. So I do not think that they will stay away. I think by the top of the Arscat climb, it's going to be just us. If there are points available, I would actually be tempted to lead out comfortably, like just a hair faster than these guys, lead out and have Vatsek go pick up some points, because we are just 3 points away from the points classification. Gregoire, though, is obviously a threat to that. But as we hit the base of the climb, How have we done? Well, pace picked up, right? Even with a 75 effort, you could see that the heart rate was just high enough, tempo was just high enough that fatigue began to set in, but we really, really minimized it. You can see these guys took the brunt of it. Feeling good about that. But now holding position becomes much more important. We're going to try an 80. There's still 11.5K to go to the top as we are just beginning to climb. It's a long ways to go to be putting in a big effort. I feel like we're drifting. There, now we're seeing some blinking red. So yes, we are drifting. Can only afford to drift so much in the short term. In fact, it's a fairly small peloton, just 72. That last climb actually did split the field and saw guys out the rear who have not regained any contact. So right now I'm mostly inclined to try to hold position, and that was good. We're holding. I don't want to recover too quickly, so back down to an 82. 3 riders out the back. Let's hold on for a second. 8K to go to the top, and we've got domestiques that will become exhausted, so now's the time to keep up. Refocus on those 3. Vatsek is doing fine on an 82. Let's look at Shui and Haddad, who are not doing fine on an 82. They need to roll a little bit harder. If they're going to support Vatsek, they're going to need to be near Vatsek. So have them inch their way back forward, now an 85. Haddad's a better medium mountain guy. Okay, almost back in position, or at least for Haddad. Where is Shui? Shui is way back there. Okay, we've caught the front of the field. Told you they weren't going to make it. 5K to go to the top of the climb. Pace did not lift, though. Zipinati going backwards. He is the first. He was protecting someone somewhere. I suppose that's Vatsek. Color doesn't quite match up, but that is who he was protecting. So, Montez. No. Lind needs to protect Vatsek. And Haddad needs to follow Vatsek. And he's been hanging in with that 82 just fine. Shui needs to gel up now and then get in line as Montez goes backwards. And Lind begins to drop. So Shui, who's looking a little bit weaker than Haddad, needs to go into protect mode. We're down to 3 guys. 20K to go on the stage, but just 2.7, and we're suddenly down to 37 riders. Vatsek feeling pretty good. You know what? Vatsek's feeling pretty good. Let's decimate this group just a little bit. We've got 3 guys. Let's do something with these 3 guys. No, not a 99, but let's see what a 90 will look like for Shui. We've got good medium mountain for these guys, so a 90 is the perfect. They're all best at a 90, so let's ride a 90 and see what happens. I'm not worried about the other guys. I'm worried about our leaders, but Haddad did not make his way forward very well, and Shui will run out very soon. We're down to 1.3K. Shui out of energy, but Haddad ups the tempo, setting up Vatsek, and Vatsek is going to attack. Haddad.
Vatsek goes onto the attack.
The group is slowly thinning out due to such a
Vatsek had the energy. We will get recovery, so we might as well give a maximum effort here, and just 2 guys follow. They've made contact. It's Martinez and Gregoire. Of course it's Gregoire. But let's relay. Yes, we will relay. 30 seconds ahead. 30 seconds ahead.
The riders are entering the last 15 kilometers of the stage.
And now just 9 riders following. Let's get a lay of the land. So with us, we're at the front of the field. It's Gregoire. He's got a great acceleration and a fairly decent sprint, but there's not going to be a sprint on this one, right? It kind of is a sprint, isn't it? This recovery is going to be really important. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, Lenny Martinez, only 10th overall. Wow. ninth, and then the leader, Gregoire. So chance to move forward. 28 seconds ahead is not much. And there's plenty of guys chasing. It could come back together, but even if it's only 13 guys, hey, we've done something, right? So you've got Danny Martinez, Vedapol, Glog, Simon Yates. I haven't said his name in a while. He's also getting quite old. Malesi, who's second overall, and you can see why with those ratings. Holy cow, there's your future Grand Tour winner. Only, who sits 6th overall, and we have a chance to... Well, no, hold on. Our battle was 8, 9, 10, and 11, right? Van Wilder, Escano, Rondell just barely hanging on. O'Connor slipping out the back. And then, yeah, you've got guys that have been dropped. There's plenty of that top 10 absent. So we've got a real chance to see some gains here as Vacek is very quickly recovering. Okay, let's sit on for a second. Let's sit on. We need to recover. Yeah, we really need to recover. Just 16 seconds ahead. As much as I want to push on, we've got to have something to finish with, right? It just looks like it's going to be with 21 riders. And it is now with 21. Haddad is here. Haddad is here. At the back of the group. Losing contact with the group. Ay. We're seeing an attack. Let's Haddad. It's 6K out, and no, he's not going to do anything. It's down to just Vacek, and Vacek just hanging on comfortably at the front. It's down to one rider off the front, Lescano. Martinez, who he was trying to lead out, did not go anywhere. But it's 4K, and we do not have any red bar for a sprint. And Haddad has already been dropped by the group.
And they keep on attacking. Anyone that's
So
low on
I have
gas
some
definitely
others.
won't be able to keep up.
Let's follow Onley for now. 2.2K. Still 2 riders ahead, but only a few seconds. It's a Venipol and Lescano. 1.5K. And how am I'm on follow, and we're not following. That's why I don't use follow. It's a garbage button. We have no red bar. We can't properly sprint. We're not going to get a top 3. The top 2, hang on. Lescano and Venipol stay away by a handful of seconds, but it's a tremendous top 10 finish. Well done. Vacek gets 6th on the stage. Gregoire was 4th, though, so we will not win the points classification ahead of him. Shui has passed up Haddad on the way towards the finish line. They're both going to just miss the top 20 on the stage, though. So really good team result. Really good final standings potential with that one. We should easily be remaining in that top 10 and very possibly moving up a spot or so. In order for our 3-man group to have stayed away, we needed to get some recovery on the descent because we were being chased by greater numbers, meaning they were going to be able to ride harder. So we had to have some recovery to have something left to finish off the stage. But in order for us to have a chance, it would have required all 3 working together. Vacek did take a couple of turns during that descent before we sat up, but it's Lenny Martinez who didn't work at all and never took a turn that doomed that breakaway from succeeding. Otherwise, we were looking at a podium finish. But we do get a 15-second separation in the front 2, 28 to a small group just behind us. So we actually do gain 13 seconds on a number of guys, an additional half a dozen seconds on guys that weren't contending anyway. O'Connor loses more time today, 121. Mataway was one of the guys. Was he just a few seconds ahead of me? Ayuso also losing some time. I do think we're moving up at least a little bit, possibly to the front of our group that we were fighting those last few positions. Gregoire wins the overall and the points classification for that matter. Malesi finishes right where he started the day, 4 seconds behind him. Glog drops some time but remains 3rd. Van Wilder, Martinez, top 5 stays the same, but only 104. Civica 133. Venipol Okay, Evenepoel gains a little bit of time, and he stayed. So no change. There is absolutely no change in the top 13. Evenepoel goes on and won the stage, right? No, Lescano won, but he got second. And that put him from a handful of seconds ahead of us to a little further ahead. Lenny Martinez, who refused to ride while sitting in 10th position, doomed our breakaway, and he remains 10th. Isidore loses a ton of time, so he was the one who was in the group and slipped back. Mataway was the next best rider. That's why I recognized the name. I knew he was at the front of a grouping. I just didn't remember which grouping. I thought it might have been our grouping, but no, that was Evenepoel, and it was Mataway who was the front of the much larger time loss groups. Jouet ends up finishing 19th, so actually he picks up some points for us as well. But the big thing here was Vacek did successfully, without any race day bonuses. His best was a +2 for the 8 stages. He claimed victory. Well, I don't remember for certain if +2 was his best. What did he have on the day he won the stage? Was it a +3 that day? It might have been. But with a very neutral race day condition throughout this race, and he managed to finish in the top 10. These other guys surrounding him in the top 10 are also not the same riders we're going to be facing at the Tour. It's going to be a much bigger, better, stronger set of opposition than this one. So securing the top 10 there will not be easy, but he's got a fitness peak that's on the way fairly soon. The disappointing part is it looks like it's going to hit at least a week prior to the race, meaning it will not last very long into the race, and then he will be really suffering during the final week. So I think realistically, we will look for Vacek to be in the top 10 in the first half of the race, and then he'll probably slip away after that and finish outside of the top 10. At least that's my early prediction, but we'll hang on as best we can. But there's your confirmation. We finished 6 points behind Gregoire, 9th, or tied for 7th anyway, in the mountain classifications, as Gegenhardt did go on to win that. Jouet won the under 25s. Good on him. Haddad, such a strong climber, but so poor on his draws on climbing days. He had a +1 today. Best we've seen in a long time. And we were 5th as a team. So considering the talent around us, that was pretty dang good. Ineos, over an hour down in 11. Not used to seeing them there. Visma, over 2 hours down. Sepp Kuss was their leader for this race, by the way. That is going to do it for this one, though. I'm a Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.